Yes, everyone, we got one more indie film for you today. It is a horror dramatic thriller of sorts. It spans a number of genres, but I would say a horror thriller, and it's called The Man in Room 6, directed and written by Trevor Junger. And we get the story of Carrie, who is at a nursing home with her grandfather who just died. And well, the guy who is in the room next door to her, next door to her grandfather, excuse me, she kind of becomes not quite obsessed with, but intrigued by. And, well, they hit it off after she visits with him and she gets a job taking care of him. But things take a weird turn when he claims that he's an immortal and soon suddenly disappears. And she's framed for his apparent missing / murder. And we see how Carrie travels around trying to figure out the mystery behind the man. And we see the impacts that has, as well as learn some history of the man and other events that have led to this point. The Man in Room 6 is an interesting bit of surreal story that really takes you into some interesting places. I think the script that they have and the short blurbs, like the flashbacks and that we have, are all great. It's kind of divided almost into chapters, almost like an anthology film with all related short stories that are all tied together, namely by this concept of this immortal person and the effect they had on the people around them. And yeah, I thought it was an interesting approach, and the story kept me going as well. It's like, how is this going to play out? Now, you're not going to get all the answers in this film. So if you're looking for something that's going to explain everything and handhold it for you, you're going to be disappointed because it doesn't. No, this is a steady, slow cinema of sorts, I would say, in that it is 2.5 hours long. But there is a lot going on during those 2.5 hours. And as I said, with it being broken up into chapters, it kind of helps with watching it. Now, it's done with a high production value and some great performances. Namely, we've got some familiar faces in here in the indie horror scene. We've got one of my favorite indie horror actors, Bill Oberst Jr. in here. He brings it for every role he's in, and in here, him playing the old man in Immortal, where he's in makeup and not in makeup, solid performance. Always love seeing Bill on screen, and it's great to see him in this, in such a meaty role. Who's also in here is great to see was Debbie Rochon. She shows up in here later in the film, and I loved her character, Elizabeth. So glad she got a decent amount of screen time, wasn't just like a one-off guest. So it was great to see her have a part in this plot with her character, and yeah, always fun and always solid performance from her. Now, playing Carrie is Jackie Kelly, and I thought she did fantastic in here as well. As this girl, just woman trying to figure this out. Well, young woman. And yeah, I liked her performance. And sometimes she gets a little scary as well. It really takes, it's a macabre story, for sure. And as Sajiwa, who we've talked to, would say, this is classified, I would say, as a slow burn, a slow cinema, because it is a slower burn. Now, again, doesn't make it bad. It does, though, settle in for a while for this movie. You could have almost probably broken it up into 2 films, I could see, but again, the runtime didn't take me out of it. I think the dialogue is interesting. The script keeps things kind of in a gray area of what exactly is going on. You can kind of piece it together, but the mystery stays even as the credits roll. So The Man in Room 6 is an interesting story that definitely went to its final conclusion, not where I kind of expected it to. And I always love films that surprise me. This one definitely did. It just does take a little while to get there. So if you're not a fan of slower paced stories or, kind of slower cinema, you may not find a lot of enjoyment in this. But if you do, I think, especially if you like Debbie Rochon and you like Bill Oberst and you like kind of metaphysical, existential kind of things going on, as well as paranormal, along with horror, as along with historic. There's just all kinds of things wrapped up into this movie, and you should check it out where you can. So there you have it, folks. Thank you for listening to me babble about this movie, a very interesting one for sure. Please check out our Patreon if you haven't already. We got a lot of great stuff there. Bells and whistles, and subscribe here to catch all the reviews that we got coming out. We got Sawdust City Fright Fest coming up, Twisted Dreams Film Festival coming up. I'm going to try to bring you some coverage there as much as I can, because I'll be involved in some things. And yeah, thank you so much as always for your support. Until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.